Hello there, I'm Mount Pain 27 and this is Dean of Doom, the show where we give grades to classic and contemporary Doom wads. Why? Because ranking things is fun. Today's episode will be dedicated to Hellbound, a one-man megawad released in 2013 by the Hungarian mapper Zoltán Z86 Sófalvi. Best known for its realism, grand scale, and for linking its maps into one seemingly continuous journey, Hellbound is almost exclusively constructed from iwad textures and uses stock MIDIs for more than half of its maps, a fact which brings Z86's directorial influence to the fore. His was one of the most impressive megawads of its day, and it earned him a fan base that, even more than 10 years on, remains awestruck by his work. At the same time, disparagement of Hellbound has become so normalized across the years that its own Doomwiki page skewers it. Hellbound was praised for its aesthetic quality, but criticized for its gameplay, which many found to be mostly uninteresting. Across 2 full playthroughs of Hellbound, that line and the generally negative sentiment that birthed it have stewed in my head. After a nearly 5-year wait, the impulse to write this episode came to me one September evening. For 2 weeks, it squeezed me until everything I wanted to say came out. What I present to you now is my honest reckoning with a megawad that I have always been fascinated by, but at times struggled to love. Hellbound fans and detractors alike, I hope this means something to you. Here's how the show works. Every map gets 1 grade for quality and 1 for difficulty. Quality grades go from A to F. Grade A levels are fun, memorable, visually distinctive, creative, and a fair challenge. We grade difficulty from X to E. X for extreme, E for easy, A through D in between. Remember that disagreeing is part of the fun, and at the end of the day, this show is about spreading the joy of Doom. So let's do so. The rules are, we play on ultra-violence and must pistol start each level. I need to play the wad twice before reviewing it. Saves are allowed, and we go for 100% kills in all levels, making exceptions when it's just not worth it. With 1 DSDA Doom exception, I played Hellbound on Z-Doom, and today's compatibility is limit removing. Now, to the wad. Map 1, Apartments. Awakened by a growl, you pick up your pistol, step into the hall, and gun down a former neighbor. The long walk to hell has begun. The reuse of the Icon of Sins theme is downright inspired here. There's something very sinister about using Doom 2's last soundtrack as the first piece of music in this megawad, as if Hellbound is saying, not only is the nightmare not over, it's only just begun. Veterans should chew through Apartment's featherweight opposition, but it's pretty goddamn unnerving. Z86 might as well be announcing his bid for the Best Lighting of All Time award, and circa 2013, Hellbound is a strong case. Every room is painstakingly shaded, but the darkness is more than decorative. It's a full-fledged adversary. Keep your eyes peeled for a switch in the flickering corridor and you'll get an early rocket launcher. It's more useful as secret hunting practice than as a weapon unless you're that scared of arachnotrons. Apartments has a subdued malice that never fails to scare me into playing Map 2. Grade A-, difficulty D-. Map 2, Canal Road. Apparently the demons have already had their way with the water authority, because the canal is so poisoned with sewage that it hurts on contact. Better to keep on the walkways regardless, because zombie sharpshooters have a harder time hitting you. Canal Road is a bit more indicative of what you can expect from Hellbound than the opener. Its pace of play is deliberate, attrition prompting carelessness is the leading cause of death, and the progression is occasionally obtuse. The blue key unlocks half the map, but it's stuck on the roof until you happen into this Hell Knight and the unmarked switchy guards. Humph. Sófalvi goes heavy on the heavy weapon dudes, and he's a master of the silent ambush. Witness how the roadsides refill with wandering foes after you acquire the red key. There's a super shotgun in this map, which you better not take for granted, and a fantastic little puzzle. Press the terminals in the right order to unlock a rocket launcher and invuln, which negates the otherwise hairy red key surprise. For the most part, Canal Road is a strong continuation of the ominous city theme. Grade B+, difficulty D. Map 3, Testing Chambers. Open season for grown-ups. Drenched in darkness and with 250 monsters at its beck and call, Testing Chambers is an outrageous spike in difficulty for the unprepared. Armed only with former human weaponry, you're beset on by swaths of imps and hit scanners and casually mixed in revenants. Health is so scarce that stim packs feel like medikits. That Zoltán's chill with chain gunners is non-existent adds considerably to your incentive to tiptoe. The light amp visor is your lifeline. Use it to plumb the storage area for a rocket launcher and try to stand your ground against the slow encroach of foes. Hellbound maps sometimes seem to awaken all at once, and Z86 allows his monsters unusual freedom of movement. Monsters chase you all around the center area, through corridors, and even up and down the elevator. Agony Rhapsody takes the paranoia to another level. My heart rate doesn't dip until everything is dead. Speaking of which, guess when I found this? It's right at the beginning. I didn't plan to get snake bit by a secret SSG right after warning you not to take it for granted, but for illustrative purposes, I'm glad this happened. Z86 believes in secret weapons, and missing them can completely change how you experience his maps. Depending on your point of view, testing chambers sans SSG is bracing survival horror or a huge pain in the ass. Grade B-, difficulty A-. Map 4, processing plant. Alright, first things first. Thank you. Actually, with or without the double barrel, processing plant is nowhere near as harrowing as last map. The straight-ahead shotgun combat makes for a humdrum stage, until... I think Hellbound sticks in the minds of so many players because it never lets you forget where you're going. This diabolic intrusion makes it seem like hell has its eye on you even at an unassuming level like this. It never lets the dread subside. Processing plant is otherwise only noticeable for its debut of the Mancubus, which should look familiar to fans of Doom 3. Grade B-, difficulty D+. Map 5, Underground. Underground is one of Hellbound's most memorable levels, both as a physical landmark and early example of Z86's relentless swarm-based combat approach. The opening's hard to negotiate from pistol start, and you better not forget to drop down this chute for a non-secret SSG and green armor before scanning your Metro card. As soon as you step foot on the tram platform, it ignites and demon teleports. Pinkies, Spectres, Hell Knights, Mancubi, and so many shotgunners which sting like a swarm of hornets. Instead of facing them, I fled up the escalator and through the turnstiles. Obtaining the yellow key awakens another wave of foes in the tunnels, so clogging the platform that I couldn't physically punch through. It got pretty ugly. After culling the commuter horde, you'll be pretty banged up, so take it slow through the last few chain gunner guarded rooms. If you didn't find the rocket launcher until it was too late to be useful, take your frustration out on the exit imps. Underground can be a bit abrasive, but its nocturnal city ambience and lifelike details make it one of Hellbound's most identifiable locales. Grade B+, difficulty B. Map 6, Gateway Lab. Borrowing some rooms from E2M4 and decking the dark halls with slimy gutters, computer panels, tech wall, and Doom Blue, Z86 builds a vintage tour of something gone horribly wrong at the good old UAC. Gateway Lab is slow-paced and pushes high-tech weaponry on you early, so most of it plays like a cutscene, albeit a satisfying one. You get enough cells to shoot the plasma recreationally, the secrets feel good to find and they're somewhat unobscure, and death spells plus low light equals instant atmosphere. The map title hints at what will be its centerpiece. Near the blue and red keys, you'll get a pair of glimpses at the final battleground, and when you approach the portal, it's on like Donkey Kong. Sort of. 5 years ago, I was much more impressed by this dribble of demons, but still, who doesn't like a good portal to hell? Grade B, difficulty D. Map 7, Woods. Still one of the most effective nature in Doom presentations I've laid eyes on, Woods is a beautiful transition from your overrun hometown to its freshly corrupted outskirts. Z86 leads you on a serpentine hike through gnarled, torch-licked timber and caverns scored by lava. Once again, his stock MIDI usage is on point. Waiting for Romero to play hasn't knotted up my shoulders since I first visited Monster Condo. Woods gives you a rocket launcher first, and a switch in this hollow trunk reveals a plasma rifle, so you're never in serious danger. To me, that's what makes the trek to the Woodcutter's Lodge so much fun. I feel butterflies knowing that those grumbles in the dark aren't going to get me on the way back. I'm gonna get them. Its action may be set to a low volume, but Woods makes a big impression on this set. Grade A-, difficulty D. Map 8, Military Depot. I'm predisposed to like maps that use Jonathan L. Bizri MIDIs and reference Evolution's sleeper hits, but I had a hell of a time with Military Depot. The lion's share of its 300 foes are packing heat, sound proliferates weirdly, alerting enemies early, and unless you spot the secret super shotty, you'll be woefully under-equipped. There's no painless method for dispatching the Courtyard Mastermind without it, and the single barrel can't handle any serious quantity of Pinkies, Revenants, Mancubi, and Hell Nobles. Unfortunately, even having the SSG can't keep you dry in a lead downpour. In the text file, Z86 remarks that he almost discarded this map, but only on account of it needing a style overhaul very badly. He apparently made it more non-linear. Maybe I'm not qualified to complain since it took me 10 minutes to realize I needed to ride the big lifts at the back of the hangar to progress, but I find Military Depot frustrating to navigate. It's all corners and locked doors and little elevators. I remember liking this map on first and second clear, but this time it made me pretty miserable. Grade C, difficulty B+. Map 9, Disposal Facility. dreary. The immediately available SSG misrepresents disposal facilities' ease of access, trudging ankle-deep through corrosive slime and sewage, assailed by monster window dressing, clambering on high crags, and slowly bled dry by lost souls and cheap shots. You'll be lucky if you don't sink into this map like the horse from the never-ending story. Sure, it's got some nice aesthetic touches, like the little green fires breaking out in the basin spills, and the red key whisks you away for another glimpse of Hell's smug face, but disposal facility is predominantly barren and hostile. Z-Doomer that I am, I dumped unnecessary ammo on these lost souls, and I also got the rocket launcher too late, so I did not have the resources to backtrack for the last few kills. In my defense, all of those kills were decorative fluff, the rocket launcher is not easy to find, and when you run out of rad suits, the pain toll effectively locks you out of certain areas. I think this map is depressing by design, so here's a well-earned D, difficulty A-. Footnote, this has got to be the most useless invuln of all time. Map 10, Cistern. Over and over I've been warned not to spring ambushes and run around like mad, but I just can't help myself. With a bit of patience and prep work, Cistern can be dusted relatively easily. Slip into 2 opposing side rooms with a super shotgun and a switch that raises a bridge to the rocket launcher. Make sure to do this before you hit the button by the mega armor, or you'll be rummaging around for better guns while wandering monsters converge and zombies block the way with bullets. There's a soul sphere in the water, so don't be afraid to fall down. I'm sore at Zoltán for burying Berserk in a secret. That he blockades objectives with barons and bacon adds insult to injury. Other than ammo starvation, there's not much to fear from Cistern. The big fight wraps up early, and if you manage to grind your way to the red key control room, the rest of the map puts up little resistance. Grade C, difficulty B. Map 11. Venom Canyon. A few special maps in Hellbound hold me spellbound, and Venom Canyon is the first. Z86 claims influence from Half-Life in the text file, but the MIDI seems to also acknowledge TNT's Drake O'Brien, who authored Central Processing, another tense space infiltration that spills into a huge outdoor area basking in natural grandeur. There's a clear sense in this map that we're going somewhere, rather than trying to get out of somewhere. And many of Hellbound's maps succeed or fail to entertain along that line of categorization. The contrast between Sófalvi's scum-slathered interiors and his implacable geology takes my breath away, but thankfully he does allow us to breathe this time, providing plenty of ammo and only hiding the rocket launcher behind some barrels. Survive the cliffside climb and you'll run slap-bang into a pair of cyber demons guarding a huge gate that leads to episode 2. Unfortunately for the Goat Brothers, Zoltán took pity on the poor saps who missed his secret plasma rifle. I've always been enamored with Venom Canyon. Grade A, difficulty C. Map 12, Power Station. Who doesn't love a good restore power to the base mission? Power Station and I get along great for about 10 minutes. We're on the same musical wavelength, I find a secret soul sphere climbing through a duct, and I manage to turn back an ambush with a little Zerk and rocket action. But that's just the beginning. Hellbound is a chronic case of corridoritis, a condition caused by excessive intake of vitamins Control-C and Control-V and/or backtracking abuse. Symptoms include forgetfulness, fatigue, and irritability, which may compound with a comorbidity of where is the goddamn super shotgun, Zoltán? Maybe I'm stupid, but I didn't find one until after the yellow key, which created quite a few tense but mostly tedious scenes of shotgunning cacos, pain elementals, barons, and archviles. Finally, I've never seen a megawad debut the Martian later, and it's pretty baffling how tepidly they're applied here considering how brutal Z86 is with chain gunners. Power Station's main attraction is its 3-tiered reactor cooling complex, which is simultaneously dazzling and dragalicious. I'm starting to wonder if I've ever actually beaten this map. Around the Lost Souls, up the elevators, across all those strafe jumps, under the crushers to the blue key, and then all the way back to the blue switch and the hell-bitten red key wing, and then over to the tram we found 40 minutes ago. That path looks like the pipe screensaver from Windows XP. Power Station's flashes of excitement get buried in fog and futility. By the time I found the megasphere and the plasma, it had already lost me. Grade C, difficulty A-. Map 13, Encrustation. Going into Encrustation wincing with one eye peeking through my fingers turned out to be the right move, because patience and caution flipped my most dreaded Earth map in Hellbound into one of my new favorites. Everything from the intro to the end of the yellow key arc is pure survival horror. You're fumbling in the dark, panicking as enemies teleport behind you. Doors jam encased in hellish gunk, and sweat pours down your face as your backpack slowly empties. If you're very careful, unlock yourself a plasma buffer, and don't enter the dark rail tunnel prematurely, you're treated to a huge sigh of relief in the form of this supply cache and the soul sphere you were promised at the start. Maybe I just got lucky to hit the beats the way Sófalvi wanted, but it's easier to stay the course in Encrust than in Power Station, and the badass BFG debut, which precipitates a blowout with a cyber demon and a parasitic hellkeep, seems intended to power fantasize. After further review, this map is rock solid. Corrupted set deco, pacing, resource calibration, and all. grade B+, difficulty B. Map 14, Doom District. This is Sandy Peterson's dream for downtown fulfilled. What a maniacal thrill it is to leap off a skyscraper, guns blazing, into a city block riddled with hellspawn. Doom District is the first map Zoltán labels hard in the text file. It's the first to exceed 500 monsters, and the initial hurdle of surviving 2 masterminds, a crowd of hit scanners, and some arachno firing lines is prodigious, especially without this soul sphere, but Doom District has infectious confidence, grandiose battles, and monumental, realistic environments. This is what Hellbound rules at. There was almost nothing like this in 2013. Going down had verisimilitude, but you couldn't traipse around the block and break into buildings. The 2 key fights which deluged the streets with demons are why this game was made. What awaits you after the train yard is the embodiment of hell on earth. The entire city becomes a battleground that you won't have the resources to quash. Go ahead and see. I'm not used to getting so pumped up in this WAD, and I think that goes a long way towards my brushing aside some of Doom District's issues, like this arch file vaguely pointing to a chute that leads to the exit. It's pretty hard to notice if you're running on fumes and busy warding off a fleet of flying assholes. For its magnificent scale and pure swagger, Doom District is one of the all-time great city maps, and there's more where this came from. Grade A, difficulty A-. Map 15, The Vault. The Vault is like the 9 to 5 you drag yourself to hungover after a night of excessive celebration. It's stable and polished, but also interminable, methodical to a fault, and almost never exciting. And that's if you found the SSG at the start. I remembered where it was from 4 years ago when I cheated to find it at the end. That's how angsty I was. The Vault is just a slow steamroll of 3 Hell Knights, then some zombies, then 2 revenants around a corner, then a bunch of pinkies you can't punch, then you hit a switch which unlocks another checkpoint which branches into 4 pathways that each start with 3 Hell Knights, blah 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 blah. I grant Zoltán this. His map is absolutely clean and sometimes gorgeous. This dark hallway is the Vault at its zenith, meticulously lit with an interesting plasma ambush and an archvile jump scare. If you didn't blunder into this shootable switch and unlock the red keycard, you're barred from the secret exit, and if you didn't backtrack to the blue door by the oscillating chain gunners and play a switch game, you're still barred from the secret exit. All that build up for such a measly payoff. Grade D+, difficulty C+. Map 31, Diabolus Ex Machina, in which Zoltán pays homage to Speed of Doom with mixed results. Diabolus Ex Machina is a brundlefly of Darkwave and Z86, mashing guts and green marble hell together with Darkwave's techno topography to make a ripe Geiger nightmare. This aesthetic fusion is much more natural than the attempt to mimic Darkwave's combat. True, there are big open fields of monsters and arachnotron turrets, but the proportions aren't quite right, the offensives are more tentative, and the needless corridor slowdowns kill the vibe. The hub where the hallways converge has 2 laughable fights you can orbit without taking damage or even shooting until the cybers are done, and the 4 leftover megaspheres are excessive compensation for the rest. If it was just the uncanny valley of encountering a non-Darkwave caliber run and gun in a map that looks a lot like his, I'd say this map was a success. But the Commander Keen hunt is just heinous, and mental clarity cannot cohabitate with Pantera shredding away in the background. When I stumbled through a fake wall and into this dickhead, I knew I was going to have to cheat to get them all, but even with IDDT, there's no way I would have found this teeny little switch. Seriously, Zoltán? That is not a puzzle. Despite the Keen atrocity, Z86 comes out of this looking alright. He does capture Darkwave's shtick, and that's not the easiest thing to do. Grade C+, difficulty B. Map 32, Spear of Destiny. A serviceable Wolfenstein map, and one that actually almost blends Doom assets with Nazi deco, Spear of Destiny is a relatively short and symmetrical crush the castle that's at its best when it's heaving blue uniforms at you. Pillage their supplies, take their treasure, wave to this single imp, and feed rockets to Spider Hitler until he coughs up his last Sieg Heil. Obviously that's not all though, since we haven't reached the 20-minute mark yet. Now, I'm not wolf literate, but I'm guessing that the yellow thing on the teleporter is the Spear of Destiny itself, and apparently it's rigged to send potential thieves to hell. Not a problem for us. Chop up some spectral German shepherds, poke behind the red key fortress for a BFG, and play an Uno Reverso on the vile surprise attack. The combat here is sluggish except for the Martians' BS trickery, and I'd have dismissed this map entirely if not for the ending, which returns you to the Vault, now covered in sickly growth and squatted on by archviles. I don't think I've ever seen a map 32 stitch itself back into its megawads mainline progression, much less show the passage of time. The effort to preserve Hellbound's forward momentum and keep the narrative uninterrupted is admirable. Grade B-, difficulty B-. Map 16, City Bounds. In Venom Canyon, Hellbound awed us with powerful scenery and a sweeping cinematic perspective. In Doom District, Z86 demonstrated that he could turn his epic sets into war zones. City Bounds delivers on every bit of potential Sófalvi showed in those two areas. It's a breathless escape mission that cuts through an LA river-like trench and spits you onto an occupied bypass. The brutal pepper of hit scan and fire flingers can be mitigated with a secret blue armor and plasma rifle that you can find near the start. Even with bonus supplies, you're gonna get scraped up on the way to the yellow key, where you'll find 2 free blue power-ups. Uh-oh. Awakened from some horrible hive, a throng of cacos and pain elementals comes buzzing. The tiered layout favors their aerial mobility, and you don't have the firepower to shoot them all down. Add to this a spider demon in the darkened crossroads, and any wandering meat you left for later, and suddenly the whole map is an inescapable fight. A shifting, amorphous force with an acute sense of smell for man-flesh. With the high ground, the rocket launcher, and a bit of courage, you can beat back the assault, teleport across the trench, and get ready for a stunning slugfest on the crumbling highway bridge. I could play the snooty slaughter connoisseur and humph at how this fight disintegrates without my lifting a finger, but I'd be missing the point. The demons took this city not with strategy, but with sheer numbers. If you don't keep running, they'll come back. And they'll never stop coming back. City Bound so mesmerizes me because it's such an expression of doom. The horde you're escaping from embodies the relentless entropy, hankering to topple everything humanity has ever built. Not while I'm still alive. This is Hellbound as people who love it see it. Grade A+, difficulty A-. Map 17, Starport. This is the triumph of Hellbound, the base-blazing corridor shooter. I praised this megawad's open fights, but haven't yet warmed to its hallway hack and slash. This map is different because, again, we're going somewhere. Z86 gathers drama like rolling thunder, from dim tunnel scraps lit by beady LEDs to a massive airstrip shootout under a smoldering sunset. Zoltán keeps your chain gun humming through piles of undead and pumps Hell Knights and Revenants into your super shotgun's smoking end. This architecture is uncommonly pleasing, a natural ebb and flow of pits and walkways, open spaces and squeezes. Long sightlines are a standby, and Zoltán makes lethal use of arachnotrons to that end. They're like rooks on a chessboard, carving lines of death. Starport's handsome sci-fi interiors and futuristic widgetry take the cake. Two details I love especially are the levitating red key and the eerie sound of metal detectors. You can probably guess what this is all building up to, but still, the effect of 300 monsters going apeshit while spiders and cyber demons carve them into chunks always bowls me over. Starport scored a spot on Doom World's 100 most memorable maps, which has more or less canonized it as Hellbound's signature level. Personally, I'd have gone with City Bounds or another one we'll talk about later, but either way, Sófalvi has by now proven himself a master of the big moment. Grade A, difficulty B. Map 18, Computer Complex. Do you like the shotgun? If you answered yes, then you will love Computer Complex. In this fanfic mashup of Phobos Lab and Computer Station, the body count stacks over halfway up to knee-deep in the dead, and you'll get at least 300 kills with a single barrel. No exaggeration. Playtime depends on two things: your comfort level with corner cover pump action, and whether or not you find the super shotgun. It's the only useful secret in the map and hidden in true Romero fashion. This time, I have to salute Zoltán for hiding the double barrel. It doesn't feel right to use it in a Doom 1 map, so I politely declined it for this run, but it's available nonetheless, and rewards secret hunters who know of E1's penchant for hiding things in hazardous areas. Except for the hateful task of shotgunning out of seasoned Revenants and Hell Knights, I actually found Computer Complex easy and relaxing. Grade B, difficulty C-. Map 19, Frontier Lab. During its seething opening blowout, Frontier Lab seems poised to deliver incredible action and waves of sweet nostalgia for the shores of hell. Unfortunately, Frontier Lab downshifts into a slower-paced and much harder-hitting tribute piece than Map 18 after you gun down Archie and his cronies. Using the SSG is no longer elective with all the Doom 2 hefties around, not to mention this boxed cyber demon, but you've gotta berserk punch as many imps and pinkies as you can in the crate maze. It's the law. Expect fierce reprisals for touching keycards. Sneaking out of the side passage of the Crusher hallway actually makes the yellow ambush worse, because the demons also avoid getting squashed. The blue and yellow keys unlock a pair of switches that lower the skull in the room with the red accents and crystals, but in all the sprawl, it took me a while to lock in on those objectives. It's gorgeous sprawl, and it makes Tom Hall proud with its numerous nooks and interconnectedness, but some of the secrets are brutal. You can unlock a shrine to E2M4 by climbing a crystal and hacking through some vines, but let's be honest, Nobody finds the plasma rifle unassisted. A shootable switch is one thing. A shootable switch tucked in a dark elevator shaft that you have to hit while it's moving? No. If you're not a psychic or a cheater, the final fight will be the hardest in Hellbound so far. 4 Archviles and friends spill from another fire blue exit portal, and you can try to 6 Cybe on them, but it didn't really work for me. Frontier Lab is a grueling and sinister piece of work, faithful to the mood it's going for, but not a lot of fun. Grade C+, difficulty A-. Map 20, Border World. The curse of getting too tense. My memories of Border World were foggy but tinged with foreboding, so I went in without expecting a cheering up and wasn't disappointed. A portmanteau of Doom 2 maps 28 and 29, the subterranean hellhole throws you right into the trenches, pelting you with power-ups, monsters, and heavy caliber rounds. The green orb tips its cap to Sandy Peterson, though having all 5 from Spirit World would have been handy. Things slow down considerably after the harrowing. I spent a lot of time wandering low-lit halls looking for the way forward, and when I found it, I suddenly realized that this was the first time I'd ever finished this map without cheating. Pressing the Satyr face to lower this huge wall has got to be the dumbest progression thing in Hellbound, and after you clear the next cavern, Zoltán makes you drop between these yellow skull bars and shimmy along a ledge to get to the door. Another step that's awkward even in this wad. Z86 has also crashed back to Earth on the combat front. The living end cyber shelling is easy to quash if you attack him directly and a bit onerous if you don't. Meanwhile, the yellow key trap is vicious but cowardly, as the vials aren't allowed to follow you into the tower. Border World is such a trudge that mowing down this block of Hell Nobles was my favorite moment in it. The fight's a joke, but the framing is cool. For 22 maps, we were Hellbound, but now we're Hell here. Grade D+, difficulty A-. Map 21, The Gates of Hell. Turns out Z86's Hell is quite orthodox. He's a bit hindered by vanilla textures, but the inverted cross and pentagram, cave and lava biome, and red-walled marble fort are all generic choices. South of heaven, too, frankly. The Gates of Hell can be the shortest map in the megawad if you sweep up the bridge battle more suavely than I did. The secret bulk cell at the start is critical to snuffing Cybe with ammo to spare for the dirty Archvile trap at the exit. The bastard even locks the side doors on you to make you face him. Only at the end, when it turns up the heat, does the Gates of Hell escape lukewarmness. Grade C+, difficulty B-. Map 22, Stygian Depths. Yeah, that's more like it. Throw me in a cage and drop me into something horrible and weird. Stygian Depths rolls out the skull carpet and takes a step away from traditional hell, wrapping crumbling mine shafts, hot spots, and goo falls around a circle of death. Literally. Complimentary Berserk packs seem to be a perk of Hell's loyalty rewards program, and punching is a welcome alternative to the old boom click click. The red key fight and rabid aftermath is a bright spot, and the side swipe of vials at the yellow key can blacken your bacon, but Stygian Depths is dragged even further down by its slow chug of corridor fights and monster window dressing. The ending is terribly sudden. Grade B-, difficulty B-. Map 23, Fortress of Ages. Ah, the dichotomy of Hellbound. Fortress of Ages dishes out doozies and disappointments in equal measure. Half rip-roaring slugfest, half dull as dirt skull key combo lock. The opening act sizzles. Hit scanners are banging away, cacos are swarming in like they smell something good cooking, mancubus mortars are laying it on, lava's gushing down the hillsides and through troughs pierced by the wriggling appendages of some menace underneath. It's exhilarating. And it doesn't stop there. Hit a few switches to free an Archvile and a bunch of pain elementals from the other side of the field, then the gates swing open and a Cyberdemon rides out with a line of fat boys at his back. God damn, Zoltán, this rocks. It makes the latter half all the more frustrating to have enjoyed the first so much. If you didn't have the patience to get rockets from the tentacles, you're not going to like the fortress. The central hub's 7 doors lead to less than 7 places, and mostly serve symmetrical designs which render combat ponderous. The Guts Labyrinth with its eerie red lights looks neat, but actually punching through it makes me feel like I'm stuck in 3D maze. If I'm allowed to make 2 Windows screensaver jokes in the same video. Save for a blip of excitement in the backyard yellow key battle, Fortress of Ages cools dramatically in the second half and bows out in putrid darkness. Once again, Hell successfully separates pleasure and me. Grade B-, difficulty B+. Map 24, City of Pandemonium. City of Pandemonium is one of my 2 most unfondly remembered maps in the final episode. Staring down the barrel of 600 foes and enormity painted the colors of bloody stool, I was not expecting an underdog story, but it seems the years have wrought a change in me. The time had been that City of Pandemonium's ramshackle run and gun made me skittish and irritable, but now my standard game plan is go make trouble. Doing this will mobilize a carpet of small encounters into one huge chase. Riding wave after crackling wave of foes in the streets is a joy amplified by Z86's Sunderlight proportions and a restrained detailing hand akin to Plutonia 2 Gustas. The Blood Harbor, rubble, and pried up cobblestones create a sense of contrast and focal length with a towering surroundings. Cacodemons look so small from up here. I doubt this map is popular. It's a long key hunt with a fair few oblique progression choices, like the teleporters that connect the blue key crevasse with the rest of the map. And this meat wall fight is tough to defend. It makes the invuln useful for once and justifies the free BFG, but without God mode, it clunks. By rights, Pandemonium's 40-minute runtime should exhaust my good grace, but I seem to have developed Hellbound brain. The excessive runtimes don't bother me, and I'm not getting lost so much as immersed. Grade A-, difficulty B+. Map 25, Bastion of Void, I curse your beauty. It only disappoints. Without the secret SSG, which is hidden in this non-bloody skull cabinet, your time in Bastion of Void will be abject misery. This is the Super Shotgun's most egregious omission, and Bastion will serve as Hellbound's scapegoat as such. Even with the double barrel, it's a cruel plod dominated by break action reloads and sweating down the digits on the bottom right. It was not a good decision to make everything revolve around the fortress, which is one of Hellbound's most stilted and creatively bankrupt structures. It's symmetrical, surrounded by pathways with invisible bumpers, stalked by a cyber demon who exists only to leech your ammo, and stationed with non-optional archviles and revenants which must be either boringly sniped or met at the top of lifts and coverless boxes. Absolute gutter stuff. Bear in mind when you're hacking through this maze that you'll have to come back here, and it's going to be worse the second time. Save more ammo than I did. Oh, and don't forget about the fake wall BFG that you'll never, ever find unless you catch the two-sided line def on your auto map. Heinous! For all I've talked up Z86's quiet ambushes, they do have potential to fizzle, and Bastion of Void's final posse got lost looking for me, adding unintended comedy to this map's list of malfunctions. Bastion of Void looks like $1,000,000. The airwalk sequences make hay with that awesome apocalypse sky, and Zoltán's set design exudes his regular grim confidence, but this time I'm afraid it's unearned. Grade D, difficulty A. Map 26, Forbidden Archives. Archives. A library surrounded by a moat filled with pinkies and arachnotrons? Is this Doom 64? Ha! I knew it! Symmetry is typically considered a mistake of redundancy or laziness, especially when monster placement is duplicated with the layout. Players will certainly be seeing double in Forbidden Archives, but it does have a nefarious purpose here. Between the shelves, it's almost quiet but for the distant stomp of cloven hooves, and it's not easy to keep your bearings in an environment that repeats itself so. Track down 2 switches in the stacks and the cyber find collectors will be freed. I've commended Z86 for his wandering monster ambushes, but Forbidden Archives takes the concept in unpleasant direction. After you get the red and yellow keys, demons spill into the building and collect in the crannies. A generous reading of the next 20 minutes goes like this. The archive's symmetry and numerous choking doorways create tremendous tension as the archvile archivists prowl between the shelves with an ever-growing host of horrors. Do you cut and run, or do you set your jaw and enforce the quiet rule? An ungenerous reading goes like this. Wow, that was really annoying. Photogenic and moody as its setting may be, Forbidden Archives does not justify its length or raw inefficiency. Grade D+, difficulty A-. Map 27, Crimson Abyss. Remember a few maps ago? I don't remember how many it was. When I referenced something called Hellbound brain, I'm pretty sure that was just concussion symptoms. The blood is dribbling off the ropes, and I'm trying to hit the one in the middle, folks. Every round feels like 40 minutes because it is. Crimson Abyss bulges with muscle-bound brutes, and its style is thy flesh eviscerated. Gut stalactites dripping from the ceiling, juices bubbling up between the floorboards, and whatever's left of the dead mashed into an ungodly brew for Satan's host to get drunk on. This might be Hellbound's diciest insertion. Booby traps and sturdy fiends everywhere you turn, and picking up the rocket launcher exposes you to Zippy the Cyber Demon and a load of unwanted attention. It's worth the hassle of chopping down Zippy to have one less death threat in your peripherals. Teleporters in this map are not at all trustworthy. Exhibit 1 is the red key gallery, too choked with pinkies and hell knights to escape without buckets of plasma. Blood pun not intended. Exhibit 2, the one hiding in plain sight by the red key switch that I would have overlooked without seeing the Caco corpse rise. I haven't catastrophically missed anything in this megawad since map 12, and these runtimes are still pressing me to death. Crimson Abyss culminates in a mass of archviles that rushes over you like the blood coming out of the elevator in The Shining. Unlock the BFG, turn back red with green, and get back to your corner. It's too late to throw in the towel now. Grade B, difficulty A. Map 28, the Black Citadel. It's been obvious for a few maps now, but Hellbound loses something when we get there. We have been fighting only against the inevitability that this will be our final resting place. The road has been dim and bleak, but when you reach the Black Citadel, Hellbound's diegetic hopelessness enters the real world and wraps itself around you. Almost totally symmetrical, trudging to the tempo of the super shotgun, and devoid of former humans, this map will depress and alienate even stalwart fans of this megawad. Everything you do on one side of the map, you must also do on the other. Pairs of lifts, pairs of doors, pairs of switches, pairs of demons. The tedium is unyielding, like a pinky's foot stamping on Doomguy's face forever. Only by finding the BFG, intentionally mashing the gas through the final fight, and ignoring the completely optional cyber demon in the yellow pit did I wring drops of fun from this stone. Sign of evil? Sign of mapper's fatigue? Sign of laziness? You tell me. The Black Citadel is Hellbound at its most soulless and procedural, but it has one silver lining. It sends you into the next map, unsuspecting. Grade D-, difficulty B+. Map 29. Ascension. It's about the climb. There is nothing waiting for us at the mountaintop except the end. So what do? We find moments to relish in the climb. The calm moments. The times when we are in control. We take solace in memories of when we thought we could not take one more step, and then we did. Ascension is all of Hellbound's sound and fury bound up in a single map. 1,879 monsters will march downhill, and you will step over them. Herds of hell nobles and pinkies gallop down corridors of gore boarded over, lined with gibbets, waves of heat blazing through the bars. Down the slopes, mancubi slump and revenants clamber. Archviles sprint. Up above, the cacodemons grimace, and pain elementals fill the air with even more smoke and fire. Cyber demons splatter their thralls in a mindless, all-out bid to stop you, and one by one, they fall. Still, you persist. Still, they march. Ascension was Sunder before I knew what Sunder was. An inexorable crush of more and more and more demons in a world without hope. Patient slaughter is the most chilling kind. It seems to say, I don't need to get you today. Ascension, then, has a double meaning. You don't rise above death. You rise above being afraid of it. I know this map by reputation. I've played it before in context, and I've obviously seen more impressive displays of carnage in the last 5 years, but I did not expect to be so impacted by it this time. With a bit of help from Lee Jackson, Z86 completed Hellbound's Book of Revelation. This is where we were headed. The climb is over. Grade A+, difficulty A+. Map 30, Worlds Collide. Rock and f***ing roll, baby. Worlds collide as subtle as an anvil, and I wouldn't have it any other way. After making a mockery of one last demon army, pass through the fiery gate and the icon of sin will snatch you up with a lightning-fast tentacle. Shoot him in the head and make a break for the blue key, which is sitting on an island of road only reachable by jumping out a 7th-story window you can teleport to. It'll take some pointless street fighting and burning to death, but you'll figure it out. With the blue key, you can pass through a half-eaten skyscraper, dance on coals to the red key, call the elevator, and proceed to the boss brain. When all the layers peel back, shoot the weak spot and make it go kaboom. Hellbound is the last megawad I expected to have a kick-ass icon of sin, but it's hard to beat a city crumbling into lava while Judas Priest lights it up on MIDI guitar. Grade A-, difficulty B+. So, my fond memories of playing Hellbound always seem to rise to the top, and I think that must have something to do with Hellbound itself being born of its creator's fond memories. Even if you didn't catch Sófalvi's references in-game, he lists all of his inspirations in the text file. It's Z86's personal time capsule, and no doubt very precious to him. For all its influences, Hellbound captures the essence of Doom as well as any megawad I've played. It has that somber, heavy feeling of being alone in a world gone totally to shit, but it fuels you with the wrath to overcome it too. Hellbound is a lot of work. It took me 18 hours to finish, and I think I did pretty well. Perversely, I recommend playing the megawad back to front. The amount of effort you put in somehow makes the drudgery and the confusion and the pain meaningful, especially when you reach the top. My final grade for Hellbound is an A-. Difficulty-wise, it starts unevenly. Map 3 almost cracks the megawad's top 10 toughest, but by episode 2 it settles into a familiar curve. Like Zoltán says, experienced players can do it on UV without any problem. Now for my Dean's list. Valedictorian, Map 29, Ascension. Salutatorian, Map 16, City Bounds. Class President is also Map 29, Ascension. And the dunce cap goes to Map 28, the Black Citadel. Thank you very much for watching. And now I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge my generous patrons. Aaron Allen, Agile Jackson, Agu XYZ, Alephany, Alexander Levine, Alpha Skeeter, Artisan Talzar, Beatbeard, Birdburn, Blexor, Bochnik Schleba, Bitefire, Kappa-Bitch, Captain Wave, Charlie Pryor, Cheesewheel, Chloe584, Christophine Place, Dark Matter 2793, Deefers, Delirium, El Inferno, Emperor Spoon, Endless Moose, Francis T218, Galaquack, General Roasterock, Gothic Box, Griffin Upchurch, Harvey Funbucks, Henners Lenners, Hexelix, Hot Tomato, Ian Hunter, Idiot Supreme, Jeff Hibbert, Jeremy Francouz, Jimmy Paddock, Jude, Just Some Schmuck, Just Great 98, Killplane, Quan, Large Cat, Lexi Max, Logan Lazalda, Lord Biscuit the Tossable, Lumnal, Livin' Dead, Mamatic, Mark Rowland, Mars, Master Drew 117, Matthew Gower, Matthew Widjaja or Matthew Widhaha, you tell me, McJimbles, Michael Akins, Michael Jensen, Mike Merrick, Mikey Boutierrez, Miracle Water, Mixer, Mosicon, Mullywiz, Neurometry, Nick XCOM, Number 26, Not Obelisk, Novaseer, NX Avery, Omnibot, Pezavang Jaj, Philip Coffee, Foo, Razmataz, Red Doomed Earth, Reese, Reese Anderson, Richter Berg, Salt Bad Guy, Saf the Coffee Witch, Scoobly, Sean Grant, Snackerfork, Star Cannon 399, Stonemason, Stupid Nick, Sylvester Priss, Tamariel, Tarakushino, Tavio, The Lippy Server, The Refined Odyssey, TJG1289, Turbine 2K5, Two-Time Grime, Velenex, Video Game Lover, Wandering Autumn Leaves, Why Bimo Not a Crab, William Huber, and Yugi Boy 85. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in the next episode of Dean of Doom.